round one, and this is time now to look at our turn order. So we've got our turn order, and everything you do is explained in the rule book, so there's more pages that go through explaining exactly what you do, and your turn order is also listed on your mole management board here. So what's the first thing I'm going to do? I'm going to pick up 4 bonus hand cards. So we go to our draw pile here. Let's give it an extra shuffle just in case, and we're going to pick up 4 cards into our hand. So let's get our 4 cards, flip them over. What have we got? So see, we've got some different bonuses. Some cards are absolutely useless, some a little bit better. So now we've done that, we can move on to step 2, which is to select a card we want to attempt. The way you want to look at it is you want to look at what have we got in our hand in terms of bonuses, what have we got in terms of our moles in terms of bonuses, and what are some of the skill checks we think we're going to be more likely to succeed. So looking at this, we've got, +3 from Roger here in Sing, which is going to be very useful. I can see a couple of Sing solution cards up here. We can also try pickpocketing. There's a pickpocketing here as well. I think we're going to try... Let's try this card first. So, we pick an event card, and what we're then going to want to do is work our way in order through the different actions. So, before we try anything to do with the event, first we get to manage our hand, and you'll see at the top of the card here you got an option of 2 different hand management actions you can take. We're going to want to pick one, so we can either pick up a new card or we can discard a card from our used. When you pick up a card, it goes immediately into your hand so you can play it that round, so that's looking particularly useful. At the minute we don't have any cards in our used pile to discard from, so I think we're going to go to pick up a new card, and I'm going to pick up this +1 to either athletics or creative checks. That's looking really useful. So now we've done our hand management action, we get to resolve the card itself. So there's a little bit of text saying, okay, we need some money to fund our search for Great Aunt Hilda. How do we get it? I mean, yes, we are just 3 moles who've just jumped in a trench coat. It takes a bit of cash to, buy food, or maybe we'll need to bribe someone later on or buy some tools, who knows. We need to get a bit of cash. How are we going to do it? So we can challenge some fools to a dance-off, and a dance-off here would be an athletics check. Or we can do some busking. Now, I've never heard a mole sing. I'm assuming they're particularly good at it. We are going to give it a go, so we're going to try that sing check. So how do you run a skill check? We're going to need to either match or surpass the value that's on the card. So we need to match or beat a 7 here. We can go to our cards and we're going to say, okay, we're doing this sing creative check. What have we got in our hand that potentially helps us with creative checks? Well, we've got a +1 creative here. We're going to use this as a +1 creative too. So we've got +2 already from our hand cards. Let's add in our mole bonus. So our sing bonus is +3. So we've got a total of +5 before we've even rolled a dice. All we need to do is match or beat the 7, so when we roll our dice, a 2 or higher should see us successfully complete the check. We rolled a 6. Wow, amazing. Probably wish I'd saved that 6 for a much tougher check, but there you go, we have successfully passed this particular event. Now, depending if you succeed or fail at a roll, different actions happen next. So we've succeeded, so the first thing you do is we increase our suspicion meter. End of the day, we're doing a very good job pretending to be a human, but we do still look a little bit strange. Anytime we interact with humans in the human world, we're going to be a bit suspicious, so our suspicion meter is going to go up. Eventually we'll hit this Scarpa point, which I'll explain once we go through the remaining actions, whether you succeed or fail. So first things first, we've got our suspicion meter up by 1. You then get to repeat either of the hand management actions you've just taken. So we had the option of either picking up a new card or discarding from used. We chose to pick up a new card. You don't have to repeat that. You can choose between the 2 again, but we're still in the situation where we've got nothing in our used pile, so we're going to pick up our card. And what's going to be particularly useful? Let's pick up this re-roll for now. Give us some extra chances in case we roll badly in future rounds. So So increase suspicion meter, repeated the hand management action. We then get to place the card in our story row. So let's create our story row up here, and this is where we get to, once we've succeeded a particular event, well, we get to look at a little bit of the story and build our story as we go through our adventure. So now we've got some money, we can buy tools to help us in our quest. Okay, so we've got an option of different things we're going to buy. We can buy some lockpicks. You can buy a mobile phone, might be useful for researching information or contacting anyone later on. Or we can buy a sandwich. Maybe we're just 3 hungry moles. It's been a long walk from the molehill into wherever in the Caribbean we currently are. You get to pick any of these options. These options don't impact the gameplay in any way. They're just purely to tell the story and have a bit of fun doing daft things with 3 moles and a trench coat. I'm going to say option A. I think I'm going to pick some lockpicks here. We're just at the start of our adventure. We're coming up against some very dangerous, very occult pirates here. Pair of lockpicks, yeah, probably going to come in useful at some point during our story. So if you're playing with the print and play files, you can find a way to just mark which options you've picked, or you don't have to do your story now. You can pick your story towards the end of the game. I'm just going to place a cube of option A here, so you can just remember the particular story options we picked. And that would be the end of our turn. We've done all of our successful options. Now let's say we'd rolled a 1 instead of this 6 and we had failed our check. Different things happen. So our suspicion meter, instead of going up by 1, it goes up by 2. So that possibility of scarpering comes back even faster. Once you've increased the suspicion meter by 2, you discard the card. So here where we've managed to add the event card to our story row, managed to get a little bit of extra story in, select our options, have a bit of fun. We don't get to do any of that. This card would just purely discarded and we'd move on to our next round. Right, once this is done, we've done either our successful or our failed consequences. We now place all of our used and unused cards, hand cards, in this little used pile here. So you go there. We didn't use these guys. We did successfully use these guys. You go into the used pile. And if necessary, we refresh the shop. So the shop always goes back up to 3 cards. There you go. So we're set up for our next turn. And that's pretty much all the mechanics in the game. The couple extra things just to show you is what happens if we discard or what happens if we scarper. So let's say we'd picked a card that let us discard a card. We'd look at our particular hand or discard from use depending on what the card says. And we can then just pick one card we no longer wanted and we'd place it in our discard pile. Quite a common mechanic in deck builders. We want to keep our draw pile very lean with only the good cards in there. So we do have the option to discard cards out of our hand and stop this from getting too big. We also, as part of our hand management options, have some mole management. So we could, for example, do a move a mole action that lets us swap the position of 2 cards. So let's say we're about to attempt a parkour check. We can see, well, Usain's very athletic here. He gives us a +3. We could swap the positions of Usain or Eulalia. Or we could just swap a new mole entirely. So we've got Ivy here ready to go. We could swap her out with whoever we wanted. Those are also some of the options you get at the top of the card. Final thing to talk through is scarpering. So once we've taken a number of turns, either successful or unsuccessful, our suspicion meter is going to reach the maximum. And the human world has found us out. They have discovered we are actually just 3 moles in a trench coat. Something really, really weird is going on here. Now we've been found out, we need to scarper. We need to get out of here before they catch us. So what happens when you scarper? You're going to do 2 things. First, you're going to refresh your 3 moles in a trench coat. So the 3 moles you've currently got in here would all come out. And they would go into kind of a new mole draw pile. And the 3 new moles would come in and fill up your trench coat. So that's the first thing first. Your 3 existing moles in your trench coat scarper, they run away. You get 3 new moles into the trench coat. These 3 moles that scarpered, you'd then shuffle and put them ready to go in for the next time you had to scarper or swap a mole in or out. The second thing you do is, because you've scarpered, we're going to get a bit of a penalty where one of the cards we've discarded is going to go back into our used pile. So any, particularly rubbish cards you thought you got rid of, we're going to pick one at random. At the minute in our example, we've only got one card we've discarded, but if there's multiple cards in here, you shuffle and draw one card out. Well, we haven't discarded, so let's stick this particularly useful card back in our used pile. That's how to play. That's the first round. If you feel you know enough, please go ahead. I'd absolutely love you to play the game, see out a full round, see out a full game. Let me know what you think. We're going to keep going. We're going to keep playing. We're going to go through the full game. Let's see if we can rescue Great Aunt Hilda.